Hello and welcome back to the Kilted Kickoff podcast. Well, European rugby is over and out for the time being, and we're straight back into club duties, but it's the big one because it's 1872 Cup time. Joining me as always, my lovely co-host Dan. How you getting on, bud?
Good, good. For those of you that don't know, I'm both a Edinburgh and a Glasgow fan. But for the sake of this podcast, so we've got a voice coming from each end, I am going to be a fully signed up member of the Warrior Nation. So I'm going to be back in Glasgow and talking all things Glasgow, while Murray is going to be back on all things Edinburgh.
Oh, that's such a sucky thing to come out with. I support Edinburgh and Glasgow. Who
Yeah,
does
well, I
that?
do. Me, I do that.
To be fair, right? Just before we proper dive into it, I am gonna make this joke on TikTok. So if you follow me and you've heard it, I apologise. When I do my prediction video for this round's URC, I'll be like, you know what, Glasgow? If it was against anyone else, I'd back you. But yeah. But anyway, we'll get into it. Interesting results from last week in the Challenge and Champions Cup.
Yep.
Start with Edinburgh, Friday Night Lights. My first solo mission in a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done it myself. Felt very
Yeah,
strange because there's no one to shout with.
because your dad
But
wasn't available, and neither was I.
father wasn't available. Dan wasn't available. Father-in-law wasn't available. Nobody was up for it. Pitiful, pitiful. Anyway, yeah, no, big win, massive win. Darcy Graham. I mean, how long have you got to talk about Darcy Graham?
How long's a piece of string? Look, he's one person who doesn't dip, regardless of how their club form or international form is. Like as much as I love Dewey, he always
Mm,
seems to be top level for Scotland, but he doesn't
mm,
reach the same heights with Edinburgh. But I feel
mm,
like with Darcy Graham, like he's always firing,
mm.
regardless of what level he's playing at. He could go back and play a weekend for Hoyk, and he'd still be at the same level.
Do you imagine the crowd that would go to see Darcy's return to Hoyk? Oh,
They'd sell out every game.
I mean, great. He's on the picture of the Tenants tap at Hoyk Rugby Club. Did you know that?
Yeah, yeah, no, they are. The Tenants did a thing a while ago where they found a lot of the Scotland team for a game, and
Mm.
in each of their hometowns they had them on tap.
I like that.
So I
That's
remember
very
they had
impressive.
in parts of Glasgow. I think they had a Tommy Seymour one,
Mm.
um, and
Tommy
they had
Seymour from Texas, though. That's pants. I'm just saying.
but they had a few around. I remember them being big at the time. They were around 2017 ish, I
Mm,
think.
mm. Fair
Yeah.
enough. No, but yeah, just a very good game by the Edinburgh boys. Fronted up massively and got very wide and very creative in the attack. I will say, and I don't really like talking about other teams in this podcast because it is Scottish rugby focused. I've never seen a dirtier team than Bayonne, though. Christ, they were obviously we obviously got under their skin by
Yeah.
just playing well, and they were having none of it. Like, I'm sorry, of all the team in the Edinburgh team, do not try and pick a fight with Luke Crosby. Don't do it.
He's
That
a
might
big
be the
lad. He
stupidest thing
looks
you could
rough.
do. And yeah, like Marshall Sykes put in a great shift. That's probably his best game I've seen Marshall all season. I'm not saying he's had a bad season, but yeah, he was fantastic. Wes Houston made over 140 metres. That's insane. Duhan scored. Matt Curry celebrating his new deal at Edinburgh with a try.
Mhm.
Massetti Tuipulotu finally got a try as well.
Yeah,
It's,
got his
it's
first
lovely
try.
stuff.
That
He doesn't do
that
this though.
no,
No, he doesn't
he
do
needs
that.
to, he needs to get his own one.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I'd like to think
One. There you go. One each.
1872 for Mosesi and Tuipulotu both to score. Sorry, Mosesi and Sione both to score would be great.
I'd love him
I'd
to
love
do
to
it
see
too,
it.
sure though. I'd love
Yeah.
like if the score just bang, your turn. But
See,
no,
I
yeah,
take it.
good game overall. We're now
What was
top of the
dirty
challenge group.
about that? What was so dirty about the game. It's just
Oh,
because it wasn't on TV, so I've only caught the highlights.
so just basically every breakdown, Bayonne were coming in late. It looked like they were coming in high. Their offside was unreal. They were constantly trying to pick fights with our boys. Like you could see, like some of them did like 3 or 4 shoves to Luke Crosby and got away with it, which was a bit strange. One dump tackled Crosby. I think Crosby was the main target. Marcel Sykes was getting targeted in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was an attempt to croc roll a couple of times. It was one of them. I'm just like, are you like this all the time, or have we just got under your skin by playing good rugby, and you are having none of it? I can't tell
That
because
seems to be something that's very typically French. Once you rattle them, they can get
they don't like it.
very funny. Like you look at Stade Francais when they played Munster in the Champions Cup a couple of weeks back. As soon as they got rattled, it went from rugby to WWE very quickly.
It is, but like I don't. When I said I don't know if it's just Bayonne because we went to the I want to say round of 16 fixture against Bayonne back in January when it got moved to Murrayfield because of the winds. And there was some dirty play as well. Like they took Ben Vellicott out. They were fighting Jimmy Ritchie. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if it's just built into them or
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, we got the big win and happy
Keep an eye on
days.
them.
Now we went from bottom of the group to top of the group quite comfortably as well, which is awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, not so well for Glasgow in the Champions Cup, coming up just short to Toulon.
To go to the Stade Felix Mayal and come out with 2 points, fair play.
And it was Glasgow's full team.
It was not. It was definitely not full tilt. I mean, there was some big hitters in there. George Horn started. Tom Jordan started. Sione Tuipulotu was there. Josh Mackay was there. Josh Mackay got a great try, actually. But I actually thought it was the younger lads that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Jack Mann at number 8. He's done really well in the last few weeks, getting more game time. And then the man of the hour that we keep talking about, Jari Agonstabeju, getting his first try, and it's only his 3rd professional game. It's freakish.
He got a couple of lineup turnovers as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's just so naturally. I don't want to say gifted because it is very early on, but he's just doing the fundamentals very well, which is great.
Yeah, so he's doing very good. Especially with Max Williamson still being out, Jack Dempsey still being out. I know Fagerson didn't start. I mean, their back line was fairly experienced, but their forwards weren't. And I think a slightly more experienced pack would have managed the game a little bit better when Glasgow had the man advantage. Because I think that was the difference in the game.
Advantage. Yeah, that's like my only big criticism for Glasgow is that they had the 2-man advantage for 10 minutes and actually lost 6-0 in that time period. So it's the little thing, and they will learn from that, the younger lads. But yeah, it was one of them. I'm like, you of all teams should be doing better than that's an Edinburgh thing to do, and I hate saying it like that.
With them scoring that try at the death to get the second bonus point, that's one thing I think Glasgow do better than any other team in the world at the moment, is that they refuse to know when they're beaten, and even when they lose, they will not. They don't come away from anywhere empty-handed. If they lose a game, they come away with 2 bonus points. So it's almost like Glasgow don't lose a game; they only ever draw one, even if they do sort of lose. So the way that Glasgow see it, they get wins or draws, really.
Pretty much, yeah. But that's a really good mentality to have as well.
Like, it all adds up.
It does, absolutely. And like, we're kind of going to go off course a little bit here, but Kinghorn talked about it heavily this week. That like there's players that have been in big games now. They've got a winning mentality. We're getting that into the Scotland team, and it is good to see. But we've got the players, we've got the capability. We just need to put it all together now. And then Blair didn't do a PR answer. Everyone that gets asked if you're winning the Six Nations, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Australia.
Yeah, we're winning it. That's it.
It was
We're winning
great.
it. We've come close a couple of times, but this is our year.
Yeah, I loved how he said that, and honestly, I don't hate it. I've been
No.
asked by people from other nationalities in the Six Nations if not if Scotland will do it. It's like they're thinking that we can do it because of the players we've got now.
hmm
It's no longer a running joke that we're going to have second majority for the Lions tour. Like, it's now pretty much fact for the most part that we have second majority.
So it's I'll do this in the Roads of Power one, but there's two games that Scotland have to win in the Six Nations, and they've probably won it. So they've got two key games, and I know we're going a little bit off topic here. It's
Mm.
Ireland at home and England away, right? If we win those two games outside of a French Grand Slam, Scotland will win the Six Nations. Like if
What was
Scotland,
what was it we joked about during the week? Because you were saying that you don't like the points that. To clarify, if you win Grand Slam, you get extra points. So there's no.
yeah. So there is a system because theoretically, if you got like a 4-point win every single game,
Mhm.
but somebody else got big 5-pointers on every other game, but lost one, you could be left in a weird scenario where you could win all the games, get a Grand Slam, and not win the title. So they have to add in a rule that if you win every game, you get awarded X amount of bonus points at the end of the Six Nations, just to make sure you're not left in a situation where the team that won 4 out of 5 games beat the team that won 5 out of 5 games.
The most Scottish scenario ever. We win a Grand Slam and not win the actual Six Nations. There you go.
Yeah, but that's what the rule's there for, to stop the Scot Slam.
Mm.
So we to win it if that happens. So
Mm.
yeah, but yeah, they're the two games because we're look, no disrespect to them, but Italy and Wales at Murrayfield. I don't, even though we lost to Italy last year in Rome, that's a completely different prospect. I don't see Scotland losing at home to Wales or Italy. So if we beat Ireland and England, Ireland at home and England away, I think Scotland could probably lose that last game to France and still win the Six Nations. The only thing that would stop it would be a French Grand Slam. But they're
We just go to Paris and do what we did in 2020, and they're going to do it, are they? Duhan van der Marva.
yeah, exactly. Look, that's the dream scenario. But like, for everyone that follows my channel, you know that I've developed an algorithm and I've ran into the numbers. But they're the two games. If we are undefeated, coming out of Twickenham, if we've got 3 games on the bounce, we've won. Just put that out there.
Finn Russell said, was it last year he said it or the year before? That he
Mhm.
got asked, like, was it Scotland's year? And he was like, well, no, because it's been so long that we've not. Like, you need to win. For a while, we had to win one game. We've done that.
Mhm.
Then you need to win 2 games. Then you need to win 3 games. Then you have to do them on the bounce. He's like,
Mhm.
so it must have been 2023 because he's like, I think we're about 2 years away from winning it. Well, there you go. Time's up. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, undefeated because I think we've got Ireland match day 2 and we've got England at match day 3. So if Scotland are 3 for 3 after match day 3, go get that Grand Slam tattoo. Anyone out there that's thinking of getting it, you can
Me,
get
you
your
mean?
Scotland title.
You mean me? But I'm doing it a bit classier. I'm not doing like the Scotland Grand Slam 2025. I've already told Dan my design.
I wasn't sure if I could say that publicly there and out at you there.
Oh,
Trying to
it's
save it to the
fine.
last minute.
I told the media people from Scottish Rugby about that, and they even said that if it happens, they would film it. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. So,
But no, we'll rewind the clock a little bit because we have got massive fixture this weekend and next week.
mhm.
It is 1872 Cup time. It is the oldest intercity derby in the history of rugby. Over 150 years of rivalry, and it's got bigger than ever this year because 2 big houses.
The Big Hoose versus the Big Hoose.
Big House versus Big House. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Glasgow Warriors leg, instead of being at Scotstoun this year, they are going to Hampden Park that
Mhm.
holds 50,000, and they've already sold 25,000. So that's fair play for their first big move.
A lot of them buy on the day, so I reckon they'll probably get that up to about 30.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I imagine
Yeah.
so. Like an
Um,
impulse buy in the morning. Yeah.
yeah, that you'll go. I'm considering going myself. I'm going to speak to my partner about it when she gets home today. I'm 50-50 between going or not. Just with being on a Sunday, getting all the way to Glasgow. It's going to be it's the travel that's a mission for me. But
Yes,
if I can
I
find a way
I
to
can't
get
do
there
it.
and back,
Yeah. No, I can't go on. I can't go on the Hampden leg because family comes first. Essentially,
yeah.
I've got the in-laws coming down for like early Christmas because we won't see them on Christmas. So
Hmm.
yeah, come down, presents, spend time with the boys. I'll watch it at home. I'm sure my father-in-law said he wants to watch it with me, so I will apologise to the in-laws when they arrive and be like, if you like me now,
Good.
just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So I've lost my trail of thought there
You
completely.
all
But
right?
anyway, yeah. Just when you're going to say something, you get blank.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's just, opened my mouth, nothing came out,
Fair enough.
as opposed to the usual shite that I talk. But
Mm,
teams aren't out for the 1872 yet. But one of the
no.
things I do like about it is because the Six Nations squads are going to be announced shortly after the 1872 Cup. This is like a tryout for the Six Nations that open a game against Italy.
Yeah,
All the
pretty much.
players
It's almost an
on the
audition.
pitch will have that in the back of their mind. I know it. Both of them need the wins in the URC for two completely different reasons. Edinburgh need these wins not to get sidetracked and to keep their hopes of qualifying for a playoff alive. And Glasgow want to keep the pressure on Leinster at the top of the table. So both teams need the wins, but on an individual basis, they know that Gregor Townsend's going to be watching those games intently.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's funny though because I think it was maybe in last year's build-up, and Grant Gilchrist was like, "Look, people think this is about Scotland selection. It's definitely not." I was like, "It absolutely is." I was like, "Yes, there is bragging rights over your mates, and yes, like you want to win that silverware, but we all know it's like Gregor. Look what I just did. Come on now,
Or if you're doing Diddy Gregor,
Diddy Gregor."
although he gets picked regardless.
Ah, yeah, but he can catch high balls now, so he's
Yeah,
the
he catch
ball.
high balls. It's a shame with the injury that Kyle Stein had because uh, he went from being, in my mind, king of the wings to, and we wouldn't have known until the autumn, and now he's going to be out for the autumn. I don't think he's going to be back in time for the 1872. He might. I don't know how
I
long his
think he is.
injury is.
No, they've teased it already.
Have they? Well,
There's
if
been
he is
there's like
back,
pictures like it's like shaping up nicely, and it's like Guns Beju, Jimmy Batty, Tom Jordan, and then it's like Kyle Stain. I'm like, I seen that, I seen that.
so he's back training again, is he?
He's back training. Sione Vailanu seems to be back, but like he's quite funny with it. Like Glasgow, like social team on TikTok,
Hmm.
have been like filming like the players arriving for training and all that, and Sione's like, and he's like walks on like, we all know it's you.
We all know it's you, big man. You can't hide from anybody.
You can't hide from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he seems to be. I don't know if he'll be back, like starting or playing, but he seems to be back training as well, which is it's awesome.
If he wants
Start,
into the Six Nations, he needs to start and he needs to have a big impression because Darcy and Duhan seem to be picking up a little bit of form now, and they
yes,
both had good autumns. And beforehand, Stain was seen as a shoe in, and it always feels like he doesn't get injured a lot, Stain, but he seems to get injured at the most
the
inconvenient
worst time.
times
Yeah,
for himself. Yeah,
yeah,
the timing on
absolutely.
it is horrible. I'd like to see him. You know how much I like Stain. I'd like to see him get for the Six Nations. So I hope he's back for the 1872s.
I mean, I stand by what I said. I like Kyle Stein, but he's perfect for that 23 jersey. We actually spoke about
Mm,
this the other day. like about versatility. That like if you're doing a 5-3 split, you would have Jamie Dobie in the 21 jersey because he does scrum half and wing. You would have
Mhm.
TJ in the 22 because it's 10, 12, and 15. And then you have, I said you'd have Kyle Stein in 23 because it's centre, wing, and fullback. Sorry.
You got the whole back, a lot of them. I see. I think Kyle Stain offers a little bit more. He's too good to waste. He's
No, I know, but
one of the best in the air, and he can kick as well.
you can. But it's not
I
just
get what
with
you
Kyle
mean,
Stein.
versatile.
I've said this for ages. Like, even before we spoke about like Kyle Stein in particular, it's just like if you can cover multiple positions at like quite a good level.
Hmm.
And I don't mean like, oh, you got chucked on the wing for the last 5. That's not what I meant. I mean, like, if you were like starting a game in the 13 or in the 14 or whatever, and you did a good game and you've done that a few times, that's what I mean by versatility.
Hmm.
If you're versatile, it's the same with the 20 number for the forwards. If you can do second row and cover pretty much all the back row, go on the bench because then if you're injured or if there's an injury, sorry, who like say Kyle Staines in 23 and like let's just say Darcy goes down.
Hmm.
Sorry. Or Duhan, whatever. And you go, coming on Kyle Stein. Cool. Not a problem. You're not sitting going, oh no, who's going on the wing? Or like there's no need to panic.
Well, we talked about it, that like Scotland's depth at wing is ridiculous. Like let's just say, like touch wood, it doesn't happen. Darcy and Duhan both get injured. In the training in the warm up to the Italy game in the Six Nations, if you parachuted Aaron Reid and Kyle Stein in as your wing pair on that day, they're that good that you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. You'd have that second of, oh no, Duhan or Darcy's not playing. But then you read who's in
Mhm.
for them. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and you still have Dobie on the bench covering, so.
Dobby's just like, I'm ready to go as well. Don't worry about
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Or in
So,
that situation, if you wanted to, you could just slot TJ in at 15, and then Blair Kinghorn's covering the back three.
yeah. Either
So,
either way, you're sorted for back 3, and we're definitely sorted for the back row as well.
mhm,
But yeah, 1872 Cup. It's looking interesting because Edinburgh's had, I say a few injuries. The big one is Freddie Douglas, who's like
mhm.
racing against time now to be back for the Six Nations. But apart from that, and I'm not saying Buffelli because Buffelli's like to me written off. I'm not.
Yeah.
Ben Velcott's back. Ben Muncaster's recovered from his illness, which is great. I read this today that Jared Constabeju might be a doubt for the 1872,
Ooh,
which is
why?
interesting. I didn't find out because I refused to subscribe to read of Body News Report.
Yeah. I, that's a shame. I messaged them asking them, could we have access to it, and we'd like publicize it on the pod and that, see if they'd be interested. Didn't ask for any sponsorship or whatever. I was just like, hey, look,
Yeah,
how about we'll point them towards your website if we get access
I
just to
mean,
read it out?
one of them follows me on LinkedIn.
Did they?
Yeah,
I
I
never got
thought,
a response back from them though.
I love that you knew who I was on about as well. Like I never said any names, and Dan's like, yeah, no, I've messaged them. Okay,
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. I was hoping to get something back, but I've got nothing off them at all.
do you want me to try?
Yeah, you know, feel free to try, because look, I know the site that you're talking about, and they come up with like, oh, I'd like to know this, and I'll click onto it. And I'm like, I'm not paying $7.99 or wherever it is
I'm
to,
not. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
To be
but
fair,
look, look,
at least it's only $7.99. I got trapped for this a few months ago. I fixed it now. I was trying to read something. I think it was about Tom Jordan's eligibility before the autumn, obviously,
mhm.
and it was the Telegraph, and it was like subscribe, like free for a week, and I was like, yeah, bugger it, whatever. Did not
Mhm.
cancel it, and it's twenty
That's how
five
they
pound.
get you.
£25 a month for a bloody newspaper.
That's
I was like,
ridiculous.
I was like, no, no, just no. So once I found the minute I seen it on my bank statement, I was like,
Mhm.
No, you're all right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Yeah.
from what I read,
Hmm.
from all one paragraph of what I got to read, Guns de Beju seems like a doubt. Kyle Stein's back training, which I've already said, and obviously Stafford McDowell has been suspended for 3 weeks.
Which is a big blow. That's a big blow. I'm glad it's 3 weeks and not 3 games.
No, that's 3 games. You can't play till the 13th of January.
That puts a big dent on his hopes of breaking into the Scotland squad as the backup option.
Yeah, because then, like, I'm not saying he will, but like Matt Curry's just on the other side being like, sound, Necessity to Plot is also like,
Yeah, and the backup shirt, sort of that bench spot, you would say that Stafford's at the moment. And I feel quite the pressure on individual players must be so hard at this time of year because it's like, right, this is where you need to up your game going into the Six Nations, and then it's so intense during the Six Nations. Like this is you're now in the business end of the season. What do we
yeah,
go? Derbies back to Europe into
you've
Six
got,
Nations,
yeah. So
and
we've
then
got,
knockouts, and then playoff games at the regular season. So now, up until the end of the
I
year, this
mean,
is business end now.
yes, it's crunch and stuff. I mean, Edinburgh's fixtures, well, obviously Glasgow's are the first two, are the same because
Mhm.
they're against each other. Edinburgh's away to Vannes in France, who absolutely beat the brakes off Gloucester. To be fair, Gloucester did go quite weak, but even still, that was quite
Mhm.
an eye opener. And then we're at home to the Black Lions, and again, no disrespect, they've got some great Georgian internationals. But that should be a comfortable win for Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Glasgow, obviously 18th Cup aside, they're hosting Racing, which we'll be going to. Happy birthday for
Yeah.
that.
Hey.
Hey. And then they're away down to Quins, which that's a
Yeah.
at the tip, that's not an easy fixture.
No. No.
And then I don't know who they've got in the URC before Six Nations. I know Edinburgh's got the Scarlets away
I
from home.
know they've got Munster at Scotstoun. I think is one of their games after that. I think it's Munster. Which,
Jesus. It really is
but
crunch time. Yeah.
that's going to be a tough one because I think that's on just before the Italy game, so none of the key Glasgow players will be playing in that one, which
But
is a
none of the Irish,
shame.
well, I say none of the Irish as if Munster
There's
players
like
get picked for
yeah,
Ireland.
yeah. There's like
That
three
was
of
mean.
them.
That was mean. I didn't mean that.
Yeah, it's not their fault, but it's a shame. Like I feel like that's just bad planning because like you know how there's derbies outside of your local derbies. You call them. Everyone's got a bit of a rival, and Glasgow and Munster have built up this rivalry now. And for
Yeah.
them to play
Yeah.
it when none of their star players are going to be about, it feels like it takes away from it a little bit.
Yes, there's a bit mid. Um, but yeah,
StreamYard
no.
need to focus on an app.
Say that again.
StreamYard need to focus on an app. I'm using this webcam on my
Yeah,
computer, and every now and again it just blurs out.
still good. Um, but yeah, 18th Century Cup this week, first leg at Hampden. Ah, uh, obviously, like you said, the lineups aren't out yet, so it's kind of hard to see.
Mhm.
I imagine both teams are going full noise.
Yeah, the both teams will be going full noise. I reckon that Edinburgh probably want to keep the game fairly structured. They won't want it to get loose, and they'll probably try to hit Glasgow
We
off of a
played all
strike
right,
play.
Lewis.
But I mean, the run in rugby that's Glasgow's. That's where they thrive. It's their bread and butter, really. So I'm not sure.
Mm,
Like Edinburgh, like a box kick, but to a side that runs the ball as much as Glasgow does. I'm not sure if they'll continue to box kick. Um,
mm.
Edinburgh
So would you?
scrum's been one of their strengths this season, so I assume that's where they'll try to target Glasgow. I know Glasgow scrum is very competitive, but Edinburgh scrum has been great. So I reckon Edinburgh will try to bully them off a set piece a little bit. Um,
So what do you think What do you think the lineups will be? I've already done my predicted one, so I could pretty much rattle them off. But I don't know if you agree with me or change anything from what I did.
Well, it depends on injuries. So for Glasgow,
So
what
I actually did mine. I actually did it before I found out Staff was suspended. So I had Staff in the 23 jersey. But
right? Yeah,
I imagine Ollie Smith returns.
hmm yeah. So I'd probably go Suz,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Matthews, Xander
Mm-hmm.
Fagerson.
Yep.
Is Williamson back or is he still out?
I didn't pick him because I was really unsure.
See, I'll go the other way. See, if they're fit, Williamson are going to Beju. If they're fit,
Not Cummins.
Cummins for that impact.
Okay.
Cummins for the impact sub.
Okay.
Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge.
Yeah.
When's Dempsey due back? He's not fit, is he?
Again, I don't know. Glasgow are really bad for the here's your squad updates. Whereas
Yeah.
Edinburgh, that's the one thing Edinburgh's quite good at.
If he's fit, he plays. Dempsey, obviously. If he's not, I'm not really sure who Glasgow would go 8.
So wait, I think for the forward pack,
Vailanu, maybe we were talking about.
yeah, maybe.
And do you know what?
I think what I did was Sutherland, Matthews, Ferguson, like you said in front row. I've got
Yeah.
a Guns to Beja with Cummings
hmm
in the second row. I've got Ferguson, Darge, and I've just went Jack Mann. I think Jack Mann's in great form.
Jack
So
Man could do it. Dempsey fit, although if Vailanu's back, I could see Vailanu going in there.
yeah, okay.
George
Back
Horn is on great
backside
form.
for South, yeah.
Yeah,
George Horn, TJ,
yeah. Hugh
Hugh
Pelotu in the
Forster.
centres. Cancelleri on one wing. Who would I have on the other wing? Dobie on the bench for Dobie to start. For Kyle Steen, what we're talking about. Kyle Steen and Cancelleri on the wings. Josh Mackay starts at fullback.
So the only difference in my backline is I have Kyle Rowe over Cancellieri.
Kyle Rowe.
Kyle Rowe, yeah.
I keep forgetting Ollie Smith is back. I'm not even going to get into the benches because I've got nothing written down here, but you can go on one or two ways. Who've you got for Edinburgh
Okay.
then?
And Edinburgh, Schumann,
Yep.
Ashman.
Yeah.
Paul Hill's injured, so Jim and Sebastian, because he's back now, which is great. Bless you, by the way.
I thought I'm good that time.
Second row, Sam Skinner, Grant Gilchrist.
Yep.
Back row, you would have Jamie Ritchie, you'd have Ben Mancaster because he's back, and Magnus Bradbury at 8.
Yep.
Backs, I've got Ali Price, Ross Thompson, just to rub salt in the Glasgow wins there.
Yeah, I was wondering if they go that way to do the Glasgow pairing.
Yeah, probably. I've gone Curry Porter in the centres. I really like my 32 Porter with Matt Curry. I'll really like that. Then Duhan, Darcy, and Hussein the back three. That's like the easiest back three to write if everyone's available.
I think with Mussesi scoring his try against Beyond, he seems to be getting a little bit of confidence now. I think everyone, and it's unfair, but I think everyone's expecting a breakthrough at some point just because who his brother is.
Yeah, probably.
But if
Okay,
there was one game for him to lay down a marker, 72, to what I'd love to see,
well,
him to flatten his bigger brother.
I'm so glad you've mentioned this, right? Because they are loving. Have you seen the social during this week or the last few weeks?
I saw it a while ago because I know they recorded a lot with the two of them ages ago, and they've been releasing little bits as time goes on.
So this week they were asking some Glasgow players like who are you targeting in the game, and they asked Edinburgh players the same question. And like some of the Glasgow ones were funny. Like I think Johnny Matthews and Adam, I know he's injured, but obviously it was filmed a while ago.
Yeah.
Both of them said like they're eyeing up Ali. because he played for Glasgow, and I was like, that's great, I love that. Then they looked at Sione, and everyone's like, he's going to say his brother. He's like, nah, so I've got Duhan. I'm marking Duhan. I'm targeting Duhan. And Josh Mackay's like, what about someone else? He's like, nah. He's like, Duhan's my main objective. My brother's a side quest. I was like, that's brilliant. I absolutely love
My
that.
brother's a side
My
quest.
brother's a side quest. I was like, oh. And like,
Oh,
there was like, oh, somebody was wanting to mark Darcy because Darcy always gets the better. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, this is just great. And you could also tell, I know it sounds stupid, but you could tell, like, away from it, they're all pals because they're just all absolutely ripping the piss. And it's just fun stuff.
yeah, I just came to a realization. I'm not sure how much Franco would have to say no, but I reckon if Gregor Townsend, I know he gets inputs on some of the squads if he wants to see certain players played and if he wants certain players rested, he'll probably want, if Kyle Stain's fit, to be Kyle Stain and Kyle Rowe on the wings, because he'd like to see 4 of the Scottish wingers all go against each other.
And just make a mess. Just the depth I
Oh, it
have.
wouldn't surprise me if he asked for Ollie Smith to start above Mackay.
Oh, see, this is where I was debating it because I said at before the season started, if everyone's fit, who's Glasgow's strongest 15? And I had Ollie Smith over Josh Mackay, which really went down the wrong way because people were like, but look what Josh Mackay did. I was like, yeah, against like no competition. And I mean that in the nicest way. Like, Josh
Ollie
Mackay played the big
Smith,
games because Ollie Smith was hurt.
yeah, but they both have the same, and this might just be the way that I see it, right? I don't like to criticize any player, but they both do the same thing that really annoys me. Is they don't pass the ball. I think Ollie Smith
Yeah.
and Josh Mackay, I feel like they're not one-dimensional, but when they get the ball, you just know that they're going to run it into contact. They very rarely pass it off. Like, I remember Ollie Smith's great try against Australia, but I think everybody was doing the same thing before everybody was screaming at him to pass it, and luckily he finished it off himself. But
I mean,
it's
it's
the
a good
same with Josh
headache to have.
Mackay.
It's definitely a good headache to have. I mean, across the board for that back three. I know Mackay is not eligible, but to be like what you said, like maybe Gregor said, like I want Duhan and Darcy against Kyle and Kyle, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
and then poor Aaron Reed's against Exeter Chiefs of the weekend, like no.
Gregor's like, you're getting a hat trick, or you're not even getting a call up. You're playing Exeter.
Hey, come on, man.
Well, that's the lay of the land at the
It's,
moment.
it's a shit season. I said this to Rugby Nose earlier. He did his predictions, and I was like, I'd say we need a chat, but what's even the point of this, right?
It's just, Exeter are poor.
Anyway, that's irrelevant now. I want to know just quick before because there was a little youth development last weekend and this weekend coming, but just before that, I want to know where Josh Bayliss fits into the Six Nations plans because Josh Bayliss is absolutely cooking.
He is on fire at the moment,
Did you
Bayliss.
see his try? I know they lost to Benetton, but did you see the try that Josh
Didn't that
Bayliss
get chopped
scored?
off, though? That one?
No, I was given.
I was given, was it?
Like the
It was,
pace he
yeah.
has, and like even like the actual wide shot. So like the live angle when it happened, Josh Bayliss is not in shot of that ball, and then out of thin air, he's just ball in hand, ripping apart 3 or 4 defenders and getting over that try. And I'm like, mate, where did you come from?
We talked about this because the commentator really boiled my piss for that one, because it was like Cammy Redpath made the break, and his name always escapes me. Who's the English player?
Miles
The
Reed.
gingerish one, Reed. I don't know why his name always escapes me. Miles Reed's got no one on him. He passes it to Miles Reed, who then runs with no one on it. Someone comes over to him and he offloads it to Bayliss, and Bayliss works a bit of magic to finish it off. And the commentators, all the work of Miles Reed. I was like, what are you talking about? Okay, it was Redpath that did all the work to make the break to get it through. He passed it to Reed, who who nobody was marking, so he ran into space, and then Bayless finished it off. How was All-Mile Reed's work?
His nationality.
Yeah, it's just oh that rubbed me up the wrong way, but yeah, his try's great. I've been a fan of him, a big fan of him for a good couple of years, and there's a couple of squads I've been wished that he was in, but it's like, you are right. Where does he fit in? If he's in the squad, definitely. If Andy Christie is still injured,
I mean, he's
but
still
if
injured now,
yeah,
but there's still like a couple. There's not much. Like, I feel like Andy's racing against the clock as well. Him and Freddie, to be honest, very different reasons.
yeah,
But I
like
think
Freddie doesn't make the Six Nations. He makes the next Six Nations. Like, you might, if we're in a good spot, he might play Wales, Freddie. But it's like, for
yeah,
me,
I think if he was fully fit right now, Freddie Douglas gets on that team.
what about
I don't mean starting. He'll be in the squad. Is what I
in
mean.
yeah in the squad? But we've got so much depth in that position. Like, I think Freddie Douglas makes it eventually, but it's probably a few seasons before his time.
It's a tough one because we spoke about we rattled off the names at back three.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the names we have in the back row. You've got Jamie Ritchie playing really well for Edinburgh. You've got Matt Fagerson, Rory
Yeah,
Darge smashing it in Glasgow. Jack Dempsey, when he's fully fit, is like first name on the team sheet. You've got Magnus Bradbury knocking at the door. Look, Crosby's always a bit of a shithouse. Freddie Douglas has the making to be a generational talent. Andy
Andy
Christie,
Christie,
when he's
incredible.
fully fit, is unreal. Josh Bayliss is sensational. And I'm not even going on about like further down those ranks. That's insane
Yeah,
depth to have.
for
Also, actually,
me,
good news. Sorry, just speaking
yeah,
of injuries and returns, Cameron Henderson returned at the weekend, which helps out our second row a little bit. There you
yeah,
go.
okay. I see. I'll to stop me bouncing about the place. Let's go back to the back row first before I go to second row.
Okay.
I think Andy Christie's generational talent. I don't think some people appreciate how good he is.
Oh, I
For
do.
me, I don't know. For me, he breaks into the starting front row. You know how we got that Fagerson, Dempsey, Darge.
Yeah.
He breaks into that 6, 7, and 8 combo. I think he goes in at 6. We go Christie, Darge, Dempsey, with Matt Fagerson on the bench. If he's fully
That
fit.
works. Yeah, I like
But
that.
but then again, to go back to where you fit in a Bayless is so good as well, and I feel like, do you want to leave him out? But he's big enough that you can
See,
chuck him in at second row in an emergency as well.
yeah, see, right now, because I'm playing with the card we've got right now, like Jack Dempsey's hurt.
Yeah.
Have Bayliss actually start a game. Like, he's so good off the bench.
Well, the thing is,
Let
if
him go.
Dempsey is still injured, I'd start Bayless 8.
Yeah,
If
with
going right
Magnus
now,
Bradbury on the bench.
you
See
you
what I
know how
mean?
much I like Maggie. You know how much I love
But
Maggie.
you know what I
Uh,
mean? Like, just even saying these scenarios, and
yeah,
again,
Maggie
it's
and
very
Dempsey.
similar to the back. It's similar to the back three issue, if you want to call it that.
Mm,
Like, oh no, Matt Fagerson's done his hamstring in the warm up. Josh Bayliss is starting, and Magnus Bradbury's been promoted to the bench. Oh,
mm,
however will we cope? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. I'm like, oh, like there's no issue in the back row, and if people say they are,
no.
shut up. No, there's not.
Talking about players coming up, for the second row, the player that really excites me is Williamson.
Max
Like,
Williamson's great.
like when he got that baptism of fire against the South Africans, like, he wasn't phased physically. I thought that might be a step too far from. He's got that bit of grit, that bit of nasty that sometimes the Scottish second rows have been lacking. And like,
Mm.
for me, like, focus around him. There's a certain players I think that need to be cornerstones of the squad, and I think Williamson's one of them. Um, I'm not too
I
sure
mean,
on Aguntabeshu yet. Like, he
yeah.
like he does moments of brilliance, right? But he does still look a bit green in some
Mhm.
places. But he's only 3 games in. You give him a
Yeah.
season under his belt, and you know
grand.
People go,
Yeah.
why'd you hate him so much? It's like, well, no, I didn't. I never said that. But
There's definitely going to be people like, oh my god, Dan already hates.
no, and I'm really, really excited. He's such a hot prospect, Jari Guntabeju. Like
I mean,
he's looking so
you know
good,
what?
but he's only played 3 games.
Yeah. The more I'm thinking about it, right? Second row depth's not
Not
far
bad.
off either.
No, we're getting
Scott,
good. It's props and number twos that we are saying that.
yeah,
Actually, I can say it, we're not on TikTok, so props and hookers. That I'd
yeah.
like us to have a little
Because
bit more depth in. I mean, I'm just in the habit of saying number twos because
no, yeah, because
if you say
TikTok
that
says
on
no.
TikTok, it'll ban you straight away. If you say that when you call it out, I've made it a habit now.
That just tells you like where TikTok is like based though. Like if you say the word hooker and they're like, oh, you can't say that. I'm like, why not?
You can hardly say the word URC. Like 50% of
No,
my URC predictions get taken down or shadow ban.
yeah.
Um, and I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on doing them. If I'm honest, my URC prediction videos. I'm going to try it this weekend, and I'm going to just say United Rugby Championship, or I might just say Club Rugby. And if that stands, if that seems to get past it, I'll keep them going. But I don't want to risk what Devon happened 10 year getting the account warning. I don't want that to happen to myself.
Mm. No, nobody wants that.
But yeah,
But
we're getting off topic. Like after that in the props, right? After Xander
mm,
Fagerson, like he's Scotland's most important player just because of the depth. Like if
yeah,
Scotland's whole if he gets injured against Italy in the first game, Scotland's entire Six Nations is derailed.
see, this is what's annoying me. I don't disagree with what you've said there
Hmm.
about the depth. Like Elliot Miller Mills shows like glimpses, like shows really good shifts
Hmm.
in parts. Will Hurd is still freakishly young for a prop. Like he's only 24.
Yeah, Will Hard should be who we're focusing on, right? With Miller Mills there as in case of emergency break glass, in my opinion.
I'm going to say something quite ballsy, but I'm going to explain it in a minute. And I don't mean straight into the Six Nations for 2025. That's not nearly what I'm saying. I'm just on about for future prospect. Like Freddie Douglas was fast tracked essentially from under
Hmm.
20s to the international scene.
Hmm.
Do that with Ollie Blythe Lafferty.
Maybe I
He
think
he is he's 6'3". He's over 110 kilos, and he was born in 2006. Do you understand?
actually,
Do you realise how sickening that is?
I'm
He is
30 now, and like when I hear like people 2006 and now they're at a professional level, in my mind, people born in 2006 shouldn't be
well,
over the age of 10.
yeah,
It's like that's not sunk in for me yet. Like so,
no, it's
oh,
sickening, and he actually scored our only try for the emerging Scotland team, and he was great. He was fantastic, putting in big shifts, big carries, and I know it's a lot to ask because he is only 18 years old, and I'm not. And like I said, I don't want him near the Six Nations squad for 2025.
mhm.
But it wouldn't hurt to have him on the bench against, say, the Black Lions for Edinburgh.
No,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
think David Nusafora, you can see his imprint already starting while these
Oh yeah.
under 20 games, the Emerging Scotland games coming up. Like they're getting a lot more out there. And I know Franco Smith has had a huge amount to play in the development of these
Mm,
young lads as well. He did it. A lot of people don't know that the current crop of Italian players that got them through from basically being whipped by everyone to how you see them now,
Franco
that's
Smith, yeah.
the players, that's his work. That
Yeah.
he was in charge of their youth development for ages, and before he got the sack from the head coach, um, that was his
Mm,
job to start developing the youth. And he was on the once he stepped down. I can't remember if he got sacked or if he moved, but once he stepped down from being the Italian manager, it was part of his contract when he got released to the SRU that he to carry on working part-time for the Italians to help continue to bring through the youth, and he's done that with
No,
Scotland as well. And a lot of the
okay.
players you see coming through now are Gunter Beju, Williamson, Jamie Doby. They're all that's all part of
Apart from that.
Franco's.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all Franco. Um,
But I mean, the results didn't go the young lads' way last week. They got beat
mhm,
by Wales under 20s. They did an away trip that nobody knew about till like the day before.
mhm,
And bear in mind, a lot of their the under 20s for us was with the emerging Scotland team. So
mhm.
again, you're already pumping in like the next phase for that age grade.
But
Scotland
Nusafora
under
said it's all about exposing as
is
many Scottish players that they
yeah.
can to a professional environment.
I
So that's
mean,
all what it's about. Results
Scotland
for him at this stage are almost irrelevant.
Scotland under 20s are actually playing this weekend, this
Mhm.
Friday, again against Wales. It's at home. You can't get tickets for it because it's at 2:30. I would have liked to go. Just throwing that out there. Anyway,
2:30 on a Friday.
2:30 on Friday. That's for kids. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Would there
Yeah.
be anything wrong with doing it after work on a Friday?
I don't see why not. Oh yes, there is.
You
Yeah, this Friday there is. You can't do it this Friday. That goes into my next bit anyway. But
okay.
yeah. So the under 20s are actually playing again this weekend, and a lot of the lads that played emerging Scotland last week are back in the team. Ollie Blythe-Lafferty's there. Nairn Moncrief. Some of the other names are just exceptional. There's some absolute banging names in that squad.
Yeah, you sent them to me. Let me get them up. Some of the names are absolute belters. Let's
Like
see
the
where
most
it is.
Scottish thing you've ever heard is what we're meaning.
So, okay, let me go through the squad. Uh, full back, you've got Jack Brown. On the wings, you've got Nairn Moncrief and Fergus Watson. A centre pairship of Kerr Yule and Johnny
Ventiside, yeah.
Vintisi. Vintisi, is it? Uh,
Ventiside, yeah, he's great as well.
your 9 and 10 is Noah Cowan and Matthew Irwin.
Ooh.
Uh, your front three are Keita Ando, Oliver McKenna, and Ollie Blythe Lafferty. 4
Uh-huh.
and 5, you've got Dan Halkin and Dylan Cockburn. Your 6, 7, and 8 combo are Christian Lindsay, Billy Allen, and Oliver Finlayson Russell.
Ooh.
Uh,
Not
got a
Finn
huge
Russell.
bench.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we love a big bench.
Finlayson Russell at number 8. That'd be a commentator's white a nightmare. Finn Russell's
Finlayson Russell for Finn
passes
Russell.
to Finlayson Russell.
It's gonna be
Um,
great.
but how big is this bench? You've got a 12-man bench.
Yeah, that's a pro. This happened at the Emerging Scotland. We had a 12-man bench.
Jamie, God knows how that's pronounced. McAukintyre, Finlay McIntosh, Jamie Stewart, Bart
Mm,
Godsell,
mm.
Xander McTarget, uh, Robbie Baird, Ross Wolfenden, Guy Rogers, Ryan Whitfield, Mark Fife, Fife spelled Fyffe, Alfield's Cameron Van Wyck, and Angus Hunter.
There you go. And there's no talent coming through. Don't lie to me.
They've got just by going on names alone, that squad has the combined net worth of Elon Musk.
Oh yeah.
It's just the names in there.
But just because you're asking about why don't I have to, and this is what I'm going to round this off.
Hmm.
Right, Friday night is the first round of the Celtic Challenge, which is the women's
Oh, okay.
league, and it's Edinburgh versus Glasgow. Way, and if you're wanting to see where the next big names for the women's games come in, just look no further than Corstorphine Cougars. They won the Scottish Prem last weekend, and they went undefeated all season. Unreal. Alex Stewart, I think she's only like 20, 21 years old, got capped by Scotland last Six Nations, actually started more regularly than people
Hmm.
who had than starred more regularly than like Rachel McLaughlin, who's like an absolute unit on the field, like an absolute jackal machine. Like she used to do judo, so like her tackling and Jacqueline's like all top drawer. Alex Stewart was keeping her out of the squad, and she's only like 20, 21 years old. She plays for Christopher Cougars. She's captain in Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lucia Scott, they got capped before WXV last year. She's playing at fullback for Edinburgh because there's this kind of like weird agreement. So like if like last year was a bit more full noise because they didn't know how it was going to work. But Glasgow and Edinburgh have this agreement with the PWR that like if you're not using these players to play for Scotland or are in Scottish setup, can we use them for this cup and give them more game time and exposure and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a loan deal, but sort of thing. So like last year, Jenny Maxwell, who had a big injury, got to play for Edinburgh just to see how she was. Like what
Mm-hmm.
Ollie Smith did last week for Emerging Scotland. Rona Lloyd was playing for Edinburgh last year. Mary McDonald's playing for Glasgow this weekend. She's been in the squad for as long as I've watched women's rugby. She's been at Exeter Chiefs as well. And playing in finals in the PWR and all that. And she's getting to play for Glasgow this weekend. So there's a nice little agreement there. And yeah, it's going to be
I like
exciting.
the growth of it, and I like this Celtic challenge. It's like it feels like the birth of a women's URC.
Pretty much. So it's Edinburgh, Glasgow. I can't remember the name. I think it's the
You've
Clovers
got the
and the Wolfhounds.
Wolfhounds.
Clovers, Wolfhounds, they're both from Ireland. And then you've got Lightning.
With no logos.
Lightning and some. Yeah, and something. But it's like 2 Scottish, 2 Irish, 2 Welsh.
Yeah.
Sorted.
The Irish don't even give their teams logos, which I feel quite bad for because they did that last season as well. I feel quite bad for the way that the IRFU treat their women's sides. Like Scotland have a long way to go.
Yeah,
the IRFU are far worse.
Thing is, the Irish women's national team is fantastic. The Sevens is great. It's just how they get treated before that is a bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm just going to nitpick here. Like Edinburgh have brought out like exclusive kits for the women's side. Glasgow have brought out new kits for the women's team.
Yeah,
and they look very clean. Do you know the kits that they use for the Clovers and the Wolfhounds? And they're horrible.
I've not seen them. No,
I can't remember which ones gets which, but one of them. So it's like quarters. One wears blue and white, and the other wears red and green. So it's almost like Leinster and Ulster, Munster and Connacht.
Oh yeah, actually, I saw pictures of them. It feels like what were those games they used to do ages ago when they do like a combined Scotland and Ireland versus a combined England and Wales,
pretty much that,
and they had the little squares on them, like a bit of Battenberg cake.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Look, we're coming up to the hour mark. Let's wrap this up. I'll quick fire into predictions for the opener of the Celtic Challenge and the 1872. We'll start off with the Celtic Challenge. Glasgow, Edinburgh.
I've got Edinburgh winning.
Is this a back your side or?
No, Edinburgh actually did really well last year in the Celtic Challenge as well and beat Glasgow twice. So
I'll take your word on that. You watch a lot more of women's rugby than I do. It's something I wish I watched more of, but I just don't get the time to do it.
Where Cruikshank, I think that's how you say her surname, the head coach for Edinburgh Women, she's like a big go ahead for women's rugby in Scotland. Like she was like the head of development and this and that, and she's worked with like one of the best schools in Scotland for their rugby. Yeah, so she is the top dog.
Okay. So 1872. What's our score predictions?
I'm saying Edinburgh win it. I've got Edinburgh winning.
Glasgow winning.
No, I don't care. I'm not. I'm going full bias. I don't care. I am biased the next 2 weeks.
I think it'll be a high-scoring game. And there was one stat that gave me a eureka moment on this. BBC Scotland brought it out, and I think this is just Franco being ahead of the curve against most coaches. They're saying that tries off of strike plays are scoring 40% less tries than they were 2 seasons ago. So teams are getting much, much better at defending them. Glasgow don't do, other than their drive and maul, they don't really do strike plays anymore. It's all from open play, and I think that's got a big part to play in Glasgow's success. The Glasgow and Edinburgh players know each other, so I'm expecting a wide open game. Like I'm expecting a 40-20 or a 50-30 type thing. I'm going to say Glasgow win it by about 12 or 13.
No, I've got Edinburgh by.
Your face looks sick when I was saying that.
No, just because the amount of people that have said, like, I've had the amount of comments on TikTok this week I've had saying like Glasgow are going to win 15-0. Like, no, they're not.
No,
they're just not, are they?
I mean, look, it might be different on the Edinburgh leg. I'd be interested to see what Hampden looks like with a post up and everything. I might be there.
I won't be.
But I don't like how they've doubled the price for a ticket though. A URC
I
ticket.
don't know where you're seeing it. I found tickets for
ticket.
No, I found tickets for 25.
25.
Yeah, every time I've looked, I've found tickets for 25. So I don't know.
Have to take another look because when I looked, they were they like behind the goals or something? Because when I tried to look in the main stand, they were 45 quid a ticket, and I thought for a URC game, that's pricey. Like
It's not any URC game though.
I know. I'll have another look because of the 25 quid. That's the difference between paying 50 and 100 quid for me and my partner to go across and see a game of rugby. That justifies it because I'm probably going to be spending about 50 quid in petrol or diesel getting there and back. Okay, so look, we'll wrap it up there then. We'll be back again after the 1872 to talk about the return fixture and who we think is going to take the trophy. Until then, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good Christmas as well, yeah.
Have a good Christmas and Happy New Year.